The boxing world is buzzing with anticipation and debate over a potential superfight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, a matchup that pits two of the sport's pound-for-pound elites against each other. The discussion, fueled by insights from boxing legend Mike Tyson, former champions, and current fighters, centers on Crawford's bold ambition to jump 3 weight classes to challenge Alvarez at 168 pounds. This fight, if it materializes, could be one of the most significant in recent boxing history, but it comes with layers of complexity, risk, and intrigue that have divided opinions across the sport. Mike Tyson, a longtime admirer of both fighters, has been vocal about his reservations regarding this potential clash. Known for his appreciation of boxers with strong fundamentals and raw power, Tyson has praised Canelo Alvarez for his slick head movement, strategic skill, and relentless pressure. He describes Alvarez as a fighter who blends finesse with brute strength, making him a formidable opponent for anyone. Tyson's admiration for Alvarez is rooted in the Mexican star's ability to control fights with both technique and aggression, a combination that has solidified his status as one of boxing's biggest names. However, when it comes to Crawford's decision to move up from 154 pounds to challenge Alvarez, Tyson is firmly against it. His primary concern is the significant size disparity. Alvarez, a natural super middleweight, possesses a physical advantage that Tyson believes could overwhelm Crawford. Jumping multiple weight classes, Tyson argues, could compromise Crawford's speed, stamina, and punching power, attributes that have defined his dominance in lower divisions. Tyson's skepticism isn't based on a lack of respect for Crawford's abilities. On the contrary, he acknowledges Crawford as a tremendous fighter, capable of competing with anyone. He points to Crawford's recent performance against Israil Madrimov, where he showcased his adaptability and resilience despite facing a tough, awkward opponent. In that fight, Crawford captured the WBO interim super welterweight title at 154 pounds, proving he can compete at higher weights. However, Tyson believes that facing Madrimov, a naturally larger and unorthodox fighter, exposed potential vulnerabilities that could be magnified against Alvarez. He notes that Crawford struggled at times with Madrimov's size and movement, suggesting that a matchup with Alvarez, who is even bigger and more polished, could be a step too far. Tyson's stance is clear. While Crawford has the skill to make the fight competitive, the risk far outweighs the reward. The financial aspect of the fight adds another layer to the discussion. Gervonta Davis, a prominent figure in boxing, has suggested that Crawford's motivation may be driven by the massive payday this fight would guarantee. Davis argues that a bout with Alvarez could be the biggest financial opportunity of Crawford's career, potentially eclipsing any previous earnings. He references moments in Crawford's past, such as when he was hurt by smaller opponents like Yuriorkis Gamboa, to highlight the dangers of moving up to face a naturally larger fighter like Alvarez. Davis's perspective underscores the reality that boxing is as much a business as it is a sport. For Crawford, the allure of a historic payday could outweigh the physical risks, especially given his confidence in his abilities. Crawford himself has embraced the challenge, viewing the fight as a legacy-defining opportunity. He dismisses concerns about the weight difference, arguing that critics are simply echoing the opinions of others without forming their own. Crawford points out that Alvarez, despite competing at 168 pounds, is often the smaller fighter in his division, suggesting that the size gap may not be as significant as some believe. He compares his situation to Alexander Usyk's successful move up to heavyweight to face Tyson Fury, emphasizing that skill and strategy can overcome physical disadvantages. Crawford's confidence is rooted in his belief that he and Alvarez are two first-ballot Hall of Famers, and their clash would be the biggest fight in boxing today. For him, it's not just about money, it's about cementing his place among the sport's all-time greats. Former champion Amir Khan, who has faced both Crawford and Alvarez, offers a nuanced perspective on the matchup. Khan emphasizes the importance of ring IQ, arguing that Crawford's intelligence, movement, and speed could be decisive against Alvarez's power. He believes that a fighter doesn't need to be the strongest if they're the smartest, and Crawford's mental game could allow him to outmaneuver Alvarez. Khan acknowledges Alvarez's physical advantages but suggests that Crawford's ability to stay composed and execute under pressure could make the fight closer than many expect. His analysis highlights the contrast in styles: Alvarez's aggressive, pressure-heavy approach versus Crawford's cerebral, adaptable boxing. Juan Manuel Marquez, another boxing legend, takes a more cautious stance. He argues that weight divisions exist for a reason, to ensure fair and balanced competition. Marquez warns that Crawford, despite his undeniable talent, could be pushing his limits by moving up to a weight class where he doesn't naturally belong. He points to Crawford's fight against Madrimov, where he appeared slightly slower and less powerful than in his welterweight days, as evidence of the challenges of competing at higher weights. Marquez respects Crawford's defense and combination punching but believes the size difference could neutralize his usual strengths, making the fight a dangerous proposition. The boxing community is also grappling with questions about Alvarez's current form. Some observers have noted a potential decline in his performance, particularly after his fight against William Skull. While Alvarez won the bout, he didn't look as dominant or agile as in his prime, sparking speculation about whether he's beginning to slow down. This perceived dip in form has led some to believe that Crawford, with his technical brilliance, could capitalize on any vulnerabilities. However, others argue that Alvarez's experience against bigger, stronger opponents gives him a clear edge. Crawford, they contend, may struggle to hurt Alvarez, even if he can outbox him for stretches of the fight. David Benavidez, a super middleweight contender, throws his support behind Crawford, emphasizing his work ethic and commitment to the craft. Benavidez believes that Crawford's dedication and strategic mastery could lead to a surprising victory. He views Crawford as a fighter who thrives on defying expectations, and a win over Alvarez would solidify his status as one of the sport's greatest. Similarly, Andre Ward, a former champion known for his own high boxing IQ, believes Crawford's mental resilience could bridge the gap. Ward argues that the fight isn't just about size or power, it's about who can adapt better under pressure. He's confident in Crawford's ability to figure out Alvarez, even in a higher weight class. Shakur Stevenson, another rising star, is unequivocal in his praise for Crawford. He describes him as a fighter capable of handling any style or size, thanks to his versatility. Stevenson believes Crawford's ability to tailor his approach to any opponent, whether a brawler or a technician, makes him a unique threat. He dismisses concerns about the size difference, arguing that Crawford's skills will keep him competitive at the highest level. Nonito Donaire, a veteran boxer, adds that Crawford's footwork and mobility could be the key to frustrating Alvarez. By staying on the move and avoiding Alvarez's power shots, Donaire believes Crawford could control the fight and potentially win a decision. Despite the support from some corners, skepticism remains. Critics point out that Crawford's lone fight above 147 pounds, against Madrimov, was not his finest performance. While he won, he didn't display the same knockout power or dominance that defined his welterweight reign. Additionally, Crawford is older than Alvarez and coming off a long layoff, factors that could impact his performance at 168 pounds. Alvarez, by contrast, has been competing against larger opponents for years, giving him a wealth of experience in the super middleweight division. Some analysts argue that Crawford may be able to outbox Alvarez and win rounds, but hurting him or stopping him seems unlikely. They envision a scenario where Crawford lands clean shots and frustrates Alvarez, only for Alvarez to rally late and capitalize on his size and power. The hype surrounding this potential fight has captured the attention of the boxing world, with even recent opponents like William Skull acknowledging its significance. Skull, while not breaking down the matchup in detail, recognizes the excitement it's generating. The announcement of the fight, rumored to take place in September, has only intensified the debate. For fans, it's a clash of two generational talents, each with something to prove. For Crawford, it's a chance to make history by conquering a higher weight class and defeating one of boxing's biggest stars. For Alvarez, it's an opportunity to solidify his legacy by taking on a dangerous, smaller opponent and proving his dominance. The contrasting opinions reflect the complexity of the matchup. On one hand, Crawford supporters believe his skill, adaptability, and ring IQ could overcome the size disadvantage, potentially leading to a career-defining upset. On the other, skeptics like Tyson and Marquez argue that the physical realities of weight classes make this a risky and potentially ill-advised move. The financial incentive, as Davis suggests, adds another dimension, highlighting the business side of boxing and the allure of a massive payday. Ultimately, the Crawford-Alvarez debate encapsulates what makes boxing so compelling: the interplay of skill, strategy, physicality, and ambition. Whether the fight happens remains uncertain, but the discussion alone has sparked passion and intrigue. Crawford's willingness to take on such a monumental challenge speaks to his confidence and desire to cement his legacy. Alvarez, meanwhile, remains the sport's biggest draw, a fighter whose every move is scrutinized and celebrated. As the boxing world awaits clarity on this potential superfight, one thing is certain: if it happens, it will be a spectacle that defines the sport for years to come.